This tutorial video explains the navigation and features of SIMTICS. You'll see examples from specific modules in this video, but what is covered applies to all modules, regardless of what you're studying. SIMTICS is designed to work on most internet-connected devices. We recommend a connection with a download speed of at least 1.5 megabit per second or higher. As long as your device has the latest version of one of the browsers listed here, you'll be able to access your SIMTICS content whether you have a Windows or Mac laptop, Chromebook, or an iOS or Android device. When using the simulation, we do recommend you use a laptop or tablet-sized screen, since a smaller smartphone screen can make it difficult to place instruments accurately. When you log in from the SIMTICS website, the dashboard is the first thing you'll see. However, if you log in via your school's system, you may be taken to a specific module and bypass the SIMTICS dashboard completely. Let's briefly look at the dashboard. At the top is a quick access link to the last module you are studying. It will only appear after you have accessed at least one module. The dashboard also has your progress summary and a menu of all the modules you have access to. At the top is a search field that allows you to quickly find the module you would like to access. Type in a keyword or a part of a word, and the system will find any modules with that text string in their title. If you hover over a module image, you'll see quick link buttons for the different components in that module. Explore will open the Explore component, which contains text and video. A will bring you to Anatomy. S will launch the simulation, and Q will bring you to the quiz. You can also click on the image of that module, which will open the Explore component. Within each module, the buttons at the right side of the page let you navigate to whichever component you'd like. Clicking on a button for Explore, Anatomy, Simulation, or Quiz will open the corresponding option. If you want to go back to the dashboard or navigate to a different module, click on the hexagon button at the top left of the page to open the menu in the sidebar. The Explore section contains the text and video components. This is a good place to start studying a module, since this is where the procedure is explained step by step for you in words and visuals. At the top of the page, you can reference the learning objectives, key terminology, which is like a mini dictionary, and pre-procedure considerations for this module. To read through the text, use the normal scroll controls in your device, or use the scroll bar on the right side of the text window. The text contains illustrations and hyperlinks to provide more information. Clicking on an image will enlarge it. If it is an animation, click the play button to view it. Clicking on the blue hyperlink will open a definition if it's a key term, or it will open a new window to take you to the relevant external website or reference. At the bottom right of the page, there's a timeline showing the steps of this procedure. The step you're currently viewing is highlighted. The timeline provides a way to navigate through the steps of the procedure. Hover over the sections of the navigation timeline to view the step numbers and names, and click on a step to jump right to it. The video on the right and the text are synchronized, aligned with each step in the procedure. This means that as you read through the text, the video keeps pace with you, and vice versa. With each step of the procedure, this allows you to quickly navigate between related sections of the video and text. To play the video, click on the play button on the video. We recommend using headphones to listen to the audio soundtrack. Closed captions are gradually being released for all modules. If they are available for the ones you are studying, you'll see a CC button on the video player. You can click on the Enlarge button to get a large view of the video. Click on the Enlarge button a second time to expand to a full screen view. The next item on the right-hand menu is the Anatomy component. This gives you access to 2D images and a 3D model that you can explore, showing the anatomy that you will encounter during this procedure. This provides a good way for you to review what you've learned in anatomy and physiology classes, in the context of a specific procedure. At the top of the page, you will find options to view different layers of anatomy, so you can look inside the body. There are usually 2 to 4 layers of anatomy in each module. Tap the buttons in the navigation bar to view the different layers, or you can slide the blue button across. The system will display instructions for zooming in and out, and for rotating 3D images. This will vary according to the device you're using. Tap the X in the corner of the window to close it and view the full screen. In this example, there are 3 layers in the anatomy. The first layer of anatomy is usually the surface anatomy, to help you learn and recognize external landmarks. Use the navigation bar to look through to see the next layer, which in the example below is the bony structure of the skull. Then, you can drill down further to see the relevant internal organs. To the right of the anatomy navigation bar, you will find icons with more information about the anatomy resources in this module. The label icon tells you how many anatomical structures are labeled in this particular layer. This example has 16, which are indicated by the blue dots on the image. The 3D icon means that there is a 3D image available too. You can click or tap on each blue dot to view the label for that structure. Where a label has a question mark symbol on it, it means there's a text description for that structure. Click on the question mark button to view it. You can also use the label icon to turn on all the labels at once. Click or tap it again to turn off the labels. A 3D icon on a label lets you know there is a 3-dimensional model available. Click that part of the label to open the 3-dimensional model. Labels and descriptions are available in the 3D layer too, and work in the same way. You can rotate a 3D image and also zoom in and out. Tap outside of the 3D image to close it. The next option in the navigation menu is Simulation. This allows you to perform each procedure yourself, step by step, instead of just reading or watching. In each simulation, you can choose whether to use the Learn mode, Practice mode, or Test mode. Let's start with Learn mode. Click on Choose a Scenario to pick the simulation scenario you want to launch. Unless your instructor tells you different, it's best to start with Scenario 1 for each new module, which usually has slightly more detailed guidance than the others. Click on a scenario number to load that simulation in Learn mode. The first page of every simulation provides background information about the type of procedure or the patient. This is important information, since it may affect how you need to perform the procedure. Click anywhere on the page to continue. SIMTICS simulations have different types of steps. We'll go through each of these in turn, so you know how to interact with each step type. Some simulation steps will ask you a multi-choice question. Hover your mouse over the answer choices. In Learn mode, the system uses color cues to indicate the correct and incorrect answers. By default, green means correct and red means incorrect. You can change these colors using the Accessibility button at the bottom right of your screen. The system shuffles the answers every time you do a simulation, so the correct answer won't always be in the same place. If you answer incorrectly, an error message will appear. If you answer correctly, the system will let you know and take you to the next step. After you've answered a step correctly, SIMTICS will usually play a short video clip to show what that step looks like in real life. This will help you build up a mental picture of the whole procedure. A prompt is available near the top of each step explaining what you need to do. If you don't see the prompt text, click on Show to display it. If a prompt obstructs part of a background image that you need to see, just click Hide to hide it. In some steps, you need to select an item from the Tools panel and place it in the correct location on the background image. We call this a hotspot step. Hover your mouse over the different items in the Tools panel on the right. In Learn mode, it will indicate which are correct and incorrect using the color cues. SIMTICS shuffles the order of the items in the Tools panel, so check before you select one. Once you've selected the correct instrument, you must place it in the correct location. As you move the instrument around the screen, it will have a bullseye symbol that will use the color cues to let you know whether you have reached the correct location. By default, if it's red, you're not in the correct location yet. When you move the instrument to the correct location, the bullseye symbol will turn green. Once you see these green indicators, click or tap to finalize the placement for that step. If you have chosen a different setting for the color cues, the system will use those colors instead. In some hotspot steps, the correct anatomical location may be a little bit difficult to find. This would be the same if you are with a real patient, and since SIMTICS reflects real life, it requires care and accuracy in the simulations too. Use Learn Mode to become fully familiar with the correct placement in each scenario before you use the simulations in test mode. For certain steps, you will be asked to manipulate an instrument by changing its angle or depth, or moving it in a specific way, such as rotating or sliding. In each case, do this by using click and drag to move your cursor either horizontally or vertically. The direction varies according to the particular step. If you have a touch screen, use your fingers to swipe instead of clicking and dragging. Note that you do not need to have your cursor or finger directly on the instrument in order to move it. In some simulation steps, there's a picture-in-picture function, where an embedded image on the screen changes when you move the selected instrument in a different area. Watch the embedded image, in this example, the ultrasound image, to check when you are in the correct location. In some steps, you need to interact with a console on a piece of equipment. This is not meant to represent any particular brand of machine, but is designed to give you an idea of the types of controls you will encounter on equipment in the workplace and the type of adjustments you'll need to make during a procedure. SIMTICS uses the same green and red indicators to denote correct and incorrect locations. When you have completed a simulation, SIMTICS will calculate a score for you based on the steps that you got correct and incorrect. If you don't see your score on screen, this means that SIMTICS hasn't calculated it yet, and it won't be able to update your logbook or grades. You may need to click one more time on the screen to ensure the score is calculated and displayed. In Learn Mode, you can access help at any time. Click on the navigation button at the bottom right of the page. Then click on the question mark button to get help for the current step. For hotspot steps, there may be an image showing the correct location to place the instrument. Also, if you perform a step incorrectly 3 times in a row, the help screen will automatically display. A special feature in Learn Mode allows you to jump backward and forward to specific steps in the simulation. Click on the navigation button to view a timeline of the whole procedure. Here you can either select a step number, or click on the step icon in the timeline to navigate to that step. Each icon in the timeline indicates a different type of step. For instance, the icon with 3 bullet points indicates a multi-choice step. The bullseye indicates a hotspot step, and the icon with multiple frames indicates a step where you manipulate an instrument. With the navigation timeline feature, you can go back to a section of the simulation that you had difficulty with, or jump ahead to specific steps you need more practice with. When you are confident with a procedure in Learn Mode, you can take a practice test in Practice Mode. Practice Mode simulations function in a similar way to Learn Mode simulations, but there are a few important differences. When you are answering questions, browsing the Tools panel, or selecting where to place an instrument, you won't see any color cues to let you know which step is correct or incorrect. In Practice Mode, you need to demonstrate your knowledge of the procedure without help to get ready for the test mode. For the same reason, help is not available in Practice Mode. You're flying solo. Also, remember that SIMTICS shuffles the items in the Tools panel, so the correct item won't always be in the same place in the panel. Since there are no color cues in Practice Mode, you'll need to check the instruments carefully before selecting one. If you answer a step incorrectly in Practice Mode, the system will display an error message, and you must retry the step in order to continue. Another distinction is that in practice mode, you cannot jump to other steps using the navigation option. Practice mode is designed to simulate completing the procedure from beginning to end, just like in real life. So you must complete all steps in the scenario in order to receive a score. Think of practice mode as a mock test, a way to practice your skills without help, without the weight of it being recorded as a test. Test mode simulations behave the exact same way as practice mode simulations, with just two expectations. You cannot choose a specific scenario in test mode. When you click Start Test, the system will randomly select a scenario for you. Because this is test mode, the score you get at the end will reflect in your logbook or be sent back to your school's learning system if you are accessing that way. As with Learn Mode simulations, when you finish a practice mode or test mode simulation, make sure that you see your score display on the screen. That way you know that the score will be recorded in your logbook. You can repeat any of the simulation modes as often as you want until you feel confident and competent. However, your school may take a score for a specific session on a specific date, so check with your instructors in case there are specific instructions for your class. The final option in the navigation menu is the quiz component. The multi-choice quizzes are designed to help you learn and test yourself on the theoretical information that cannot be easily tested in a simulation. Each quiz has two modes. The OWL quiz is a standard multi-choice quiz. The flash quiz is the same, but lets you set a timer for each question to give yourself a more challenging test. Each quiz contains a maximum of 25 questions, pulled from a larger question bank. The questions are presented in a random order, and the answer options for each question are shuffled, which means that you get a different quiz each time. In the OWL quiz, you will not be timed when answering each question, and you can take your time to recall or find the correct answer. On each question, select the answer you believe to be the correct one, and then click Submit. You will receive immediate feedback indicating if you got this question correct or incorrect. A red cross means your answer was incorrect. A green check mark shows the correct option. As you go through the quiz, the system tracks how many correct and incorrect answers you get. When you finish the quiz, the system will calculate a score for you corresponding to how well you did. As per the simulations, make sure you see your score displayed on the screen before you exit the module. The score and the total time you take will then be recorded in your logbook. The flash quiz functions in a similar way, but lets you set a timer of either 20, 10, or 5 seconds per question to select an answer. This will enable you to demonstrate how well you understand the content with your speed of recall. Answer the questions the same way you would in the OWL quiz, but note that you will be marked incorrect if you do not answer in the set time, even if the answer itself was correct. From the student dashboard, you will find a logbook button in the bottom right corner of the page. If you're in a module, you'll find the logbook button at the top right of the page. The logbook has two tabs, Log and Summary. The log displays a record for every time you've accessed SIMTICS, which module, your best scores, and your study time for each module, starting with the module you accessed most recently. Using the forward and back buttons, you can navigate to previous dates as well. To view more details about a session, select a module by clicking on it. You will now see details about that session in the bottom left of the screen, outlining which activities you've accessed and completed, including time spent on that activity and the score you received. For simulations with a score of less than 100%, the system shows what errors were made during each attempt. The Log tab also gives you access to 3 detailed reports that you can save and print. The Detail report contains your study and performance data for the module that's currently selected on this tab. It details your study session dates and times, scores and completion times for quizzes and simulations, and simulation errors. The full report provides the same detail for all of the modules you have studied. The Daily Time report summarizes your total study time each day by module. The second tab is the Summary tab. This gives you summarized data for each module with 1 line per module. This data includes your total study time and your best average and most recent scores across all quizzes and test simulations for each module. You can print a 1-page summary of your study time and scores using the module snapshot. That's all for this tutorial video. If you find yourself stuck, you can check out our frequently asked questions by clicking your name at the top right, then the FAQ button. Happy learning!